a feeling of like I feel scared.
No, it's holiness.
But
It's
a feeling of
somberness
and
purity and hope and magnificence of God.
Yeah, it's not an inaccurate portrayal. But anyway, everyone's got one of these hopefully in their town, and you have a place that's just so magnificent that you just treasure it. And when you go there, your heart kind of like gets a little excited about, hopefully they didn't change much, those types of things. So Benedict and Bergoglio's making some pretty strong
comments about his hatred for the church, for the Eucharist, for the Blessed Mother. I mean, this is I'm telling you, if you want to pick a fight with God, you certainly did. And but I got news for you. I'm not sure what you think your power base is, or what's going to be happening to you in the next. I don't care if you're getting counseled by Lucifer directly himself, and you're seeing all kinds of weird stuff. I got news for you. If this is true, hold your ass. You're going for a ride.
There's a pit.
You might think you're getting
on it. Huh? There's a pit with your name on it.
There has to be. I mean, I'm not even judging. I mean,
Yeah. I can't see Heavenly Father letting this go.
No. Oh no. No. This is the clash between good and evil, and this is before our Lord brings in the period of peace. He's permitting this cesspool of hatred. And this, once again, I will not serve. I will rise up and I will tear down. That's what Lucifer said. Well, he didn't get too far, did he? And neither with this guy. He says his gaze was a glimpse into infinity, that of Benedict XVI. This is the nun that's writing. I couldn't believe, Sister Benedicta says, what I heard. I felt a great pain in my heart and a great indignation, but there I was, sitting at the edge of the bed in complete silence, writing this. If I were the Pope's secretary, and saying to myself, what a horror, my God. What a lowness. And then I said, I listened to you, Holy Father. And he went on. And then he goes on dissertating again. Now you can, Larry, tell them where they can get this on the internet. They can download this, I think, if you can tell them. There's a lot of stuff out there that deflects it now. They send you off in a lot of different areas, but you want to get if this site is still up, you can get you get the full thing, 18 pages of what I'm reading, and we're just trying to tell you that there's something here that's very, very disturbing. And Sister Benedicta said, I'm sitting here like I'm the Pope's secretary.
Oh, this is on a website called intercessionprayers.com. Common spelling, intercessionprayers, all one word, .com. And there'll be some links then, and they've probably got a bunch of other things, but it says to the apparition of Pope Benedict. And so if you look for that, I'm sure you'll find it in there. I'll try to post it up here on the screen here for you then too, in case you can't read that or listen. But intercessionprayers.com, apparition of Pope Benedict, is where you can download and read all this for yourself. So I would suggest doing it if this has any interest to you at all. If nothing else, give it a read through and
make your own decisions.
Right.
It's this is things come across my desk, and generally speaking, I'm able to discern particular books and things. And not so good with people sometimes, or myself, but.
Well, you get a lot of these riffy books that come across your desk a lot of times, and you say, man, I got through the first half a chapter and I just pitched it. It says.
Yeah, well, there was a priest that gave me a book on miracles, and of course I'm reading The Mystical City at the time when I worked at St. Joseph Hospital. He was a good priest. He was a good guy. We used to go out to lunch together. We were friends. Since he's died. But he gave me a book on miracles, and it was like a black book, and as I read it, I'm thinking, this is like a satanic verse or something, and And of course, I didn't want to confront Father because I'm thinking he should know better. And if you want to read a book of miracles, and read this book. And my God, what a oh my
Maybe you
Lord!
never actually read it.
Well, because I could see right away this is almost satanic, and it's
But maybe you didn't read it and he just passed it on to you. He got it from somebody else and thought.
could be maybe he
enjoy
wanted me to
reading
give
it.
him some.
There's a lot of times that happens that some of these guys get so many books passed to them and they just, I don't want it. I'll give it.
It could be.
Alex
He
reads
just
a lot
gave
of
it to me.
books.
Yeah, and I think I got the book, but I just did.
You're his little lab rat. so
You want
so
me
if
here-
you grew horns,
Yeah, it's. I mean, but there's so many things, and you can pick it. It's about the. Here he talks about on December 8th of 2022 with a gesture of confidence and goodwill. I informed my secretary, and this is the guy that stabbed him in the back, that I had written
not
several.
literally, but figuratively.
That's right. I had written several letters, and my last encyclical was Mary, co-redemptrix, mediatrix, and advocate. I said this strongly encouraged by my predecessor, John Paul II, a faithful defender of Mary, co-redemptrix, at the foot of the cross, and I told my secretary where they were. In other words, he's writing the fifth dogma. In the fifth dogma, like you have the dogma of the Immaculate Conception, which is Mary becomes conceived without sin.
Right.
And she's a vessel and so on and so forth, which is the deposit of faith. Well, this is another deposit of faith, that Mary is the co-redeemer and
co-redemptrix.
Co-redemptrix, which is like co-redeems, and she mediates all graces from heaven, and which is what God wanted her to do. God's given her this mission because of which she brings to the table as mother. Okay,
Right, but this all set off a bit of a firestorm here with our
you
Lady
betcha
of
it
America
did.
then, too.
It set up a firestorm.
Oh,
When I saw
boy.
it, I went berserk.
Well, because
It's-
in the messages of Our Lady of America, they named Joseph then as co-redemptor.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing some work with Saint Joseph too.
Okay, well,
But-
because this whole mediatrix, redemptrix, redemptor, it's really got a lot of the theologians flummoxed,
Yes.
meaning they don't know what the hell to do.
Right. Yeah. But he already did it. In other words, he's already proclaimed it, which is certainly our Lord wants to know that fifth dogma of the Blessed Mother has been proclaimed. With that comes that says it opens the door to peace in the world. Well, if you're going to have peace in the world, you get rid of the
Antagonists.
the God. I mean, literally, there's a sifting. I don't know how he's going to do it, but
It's
it,
going to be through the illumination of souls and through the call to purity.
how about the children that the Blessed Mother calls?
Well, if you get the children all inviting purity in their lives, and you invite them into purity by saying, give it all you got, do your best,
That's
show
all.
us who you are.
Right.
God made you individual.
Right.
Show us. Don't be afraid to, be pure in this.
Yeah.
And it's not about trying to keep your genitals in a mayonnaise jar,
Right,
or
right.
anything like this.
Right.
And, all this other thing. It's so much more than that. It's how do you carry yourself through the day? How do you deal with other people? Do you give them regard, or do you give them disdain?
Absolutely. Right. Do you build hope or do you build
Right.
misery?
Do you build
Despair.
or you destroy?
Right.
God builds, devil destroys.
So at any rate, his secretary is astounded. And he said, I told my secretary where they were. His surprise was not long in the coming, and he told me letters. And at the same time, he told me with an obligatory smile that he thanked me for his vote of confidence, And he said, I pointed out to him that these letters were confidential and addressed mainly to the central government, the Cure and the Vatican. He said the Congregation Doctrine of Faith and the Liturgy and the College of Cardinals, particularly Cardinal Ludwig Mueller, Raymond Leo Burke, and Cardinal Zen and Cardinal Robert Sarah. Make sure they get a copy of this. So
Mueller is in Germany.
Yeah, you know these guys?
Well, he used to be the head of the Doctrine of Faith.
Okay.
Okay. And it was kind of funny that Mueller, was it last year, he called out the American bishops for not calling out Biden and Pelosi
Yeah.
on their abortion stances. So he's over in Germany trying to throw a stone
On the
across
American,
here,
yeah.
but the Vatican's been going after the German church for
Right.
their pew taxes and their other taxes they've been collecting here for the last several years and driving people out and causing problems in the German church. But he had been, was it the guy who runs the faith? Is it the Doctrine of Faith?
Yeah.
Okay. So he held that position, I think, up until 2018.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that. But if he had the top position in the world on that, why in the hell didn't he say something?
Well,
But
I don't know.
this goes. I got
I
a
don't
theory
know.
on that.
It's right.
No bishop pisses in another bishop's backyard.
Yeah, so they certain rules, that they don't.
Well, these aren't written rules. This is just how they
how
behave.
it works. Yeah. King of the.
Trying to help. Hey, why don't you fix your fence there, buddy?
Do you know Cardinal Zen? Are you familiar with him at all?
I'd heard of him, but
Okay.
I'm not familiar.
So Pope Benedict's basically saying to his secretary that is really on the opposite side of the conflict, make sure that these people get this. And of course, what he does, he calls up and says, "Hey, we got this thing." He goes, "We'll destroy them," and they destroyed them. And they figured, well, we got this thing covered, except that apparently our Lord has something else in mind. But this is one of the most. You can go on and on with this thing. And I brought it to a priest one time, and I said, "Look, give me your."
I bet that went over good.
Well, I said, "Look, I sent it to him, and he didn't get back with me. So finally, I said, "Look, Padre, point me in the right direction on this thing. You're my spiritual guide here, right?" And he says to me, he goes, "Well, we won't know everything until the end," which is like saying,
Huh?
which would have been received much better by me if he'd have just grunted something out.
He'd have been better saying, "Hey, watch me roll a rabbit out of my hat."
The end of my life, or the end of the millennium, or the end of our Father.
Well, it's another polite way of saying it's in God's hands.
It's another God's hand.
Yeah, it's in God's hands, which is one of those things that really irritates me.
Folks, you can't do that. I don't care how smart you think you are, where you graduated from.
Here's God's hands right here. God gave you the hands to be His hands. He says,
right,
"Do
yeah.
my work."
That's right. Yeah, absolutely right.
It's in God's hands, so
Right.
you fix it.
Right.
This is really what they're saying. You just have to pray on it and do what God directs you to do on these things. But I always find that funny. I always love it's in God's hands, or we're going to pray for you.
So it's a cop out to do nothing.
Well, it's you love people's prayers and good intentions and stuff like that. But right now, what I really need is a little bit more than a box of cookies, and a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
We need some real material help.
Sure you
here.
do.
And what I need is, if you can't help me with paying the bills that we have to do to get this momentous work done, maybe show up with a shovel on a Saturday and help me out.
Right.
That would have been helpful.
Right.
That didn't happen.
Ever. And you prepared for it too.
Oh yeah, we got total shutdown.
Well, you got a consolation, a very good one, with Leibold's family coming to visit you, trying to have people.
Oh yeah, that was right.
Nonetheless, that you're alone. You're just like you are now.
And that was Bring Me the
You're
Children.
alone then. You're alone now.
Well, it's very isolating.
You're alone when you're at the federal court.
Oh, that was really alone. I mean, even my own co-defendants really didn't want to talk to me because they were scared. They were scared of losing everything, and I told them, I said, this is no time to be scared. You got to stand the hell up, and you better show up. And one of them, one day, it was a 3-month-long trial, and he thought that he wanted to go to a business meeting he had for his company. I said, if you don't show up for the trial that day, I said, you're going to piss the jury off pretty bad.
They want to see you, right?
He goes, well, you think they're going to miss me? I said, yeah, they're going to miss you. I said, they're getting their asses drug in here each day to come into court and sit here.
Right.
And I said, do you want to take it upon yourself to go someplace else to go for your business meeting?
They noticed that then, I went.
Hell yeah. They look across there and they say, hey, where's this guy?
Right.
You don't think they're going to feel a little bit
Put off?
Yeah,
Not
like
that important?
screw you, buddy.
Right.
You know,
That's how they make their decisions, isn't it?
well, it gets very personal at times. They're judging everything throughout the whole time.
Right.
And
Yeah, you're right.
rightfully so.
That's right. They got to have a sense of.
And I told him if he didn't show up, he'd be the biggest fool and he deserved to lose. I said, you think I want to be here each day? I said, I don't have any business being in this damn trial. I said, you're the jackass that started this.
So if they didn't sue initially, that never would have gone into court?
Oh, I doubt very much it would have gone into court. It never should have gone into court. It should have been handled by Bishop Leonard Blair from Toledo.
And that's that. Yeah,
He was too
that's
big.
right.
He was just too big a pussy to do anything.
Is that right?
Oh God, he was a coward, total coward.
Unbelievable.
Leonard Blair. He's retired now, but what a coward.
Wow.
I mean, a full-blown coward. Did not do his job.
You met with him? You talked with him?
No.
You never did?
No. But he's another one of these jackasses that threw me under the bus. Oh, it's him, not me.
No, but that really was.
I didn't have anything to do with
It's
that.
a church issue, right?
It was his responsibility. She was allegedly a nun in his diocese.
Okay.
You know, handle your own damn garbage.
Yeah, that's right. What is it? Who is she? What was
You
she?
know,
Who is she now?
this was like the garbage bag. You know, when they come up and they throw a bag of dog poo on your doorstep and they
Yeah,
light it on
it's
fire.
A wonderful experience.
Right.
Right.
Handle your own shit.
Right.
You know,
Well-
but this is what happened, and as it were, I didn't have any way to get out of it once
Right.
it started.
Right.
But I didn't have a dog in that fight. I really didn't care.
Right.
But since they were going to make it out that I was a liar and a thief and all these other things, yeah, I'm going to show up. You going to sit there and start calling me names, calling my family names, and all that other shit? No, I'm going to show up.
Right.
And no attorney would take the case.
Right.
Yeah. But,
Unless you had a lot of money, they might have taken it.
well, they wanted $500,000 just to look at it. I mean, the complaint was this high.
Oh, my
off
God,
of-
Larry, jeez.
I mean, 232 counts.
Forget it. $500,000.
Oh, it was so. They just tried. They wanted $30 million, you know, and this was their plan was to overwhelm. They wanted to overwhelm me, make me capitulate, and sign a fake warrant against these other guys, blaming them for everything, which is all total bullshit.
So if you'd have signed off on the thing, you could have take a walk, gotten out of the whole situation.
I could have signed off on it and blamed it all on those guys, you know, blamed it all.
Now you guys deal with it.
Right. It wasn't my fight. You know, I really didn't care. But I did care for the truth.
Right.
Yeah, if you're going to call me a liar, and if a bishop's going to call me a liar like Darcy did on TV,
Right.
you know, if you want to build a real...
He did it publicly, too. He did it publicly. It was not...
He did it on worldwide television.
That's right. Was it? What was the network? EWTN?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
you've
that's
heard of
worldwide, sure.
Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah. Well, this is... Listen,
but
we
there's-
can't do this as...
There's so much stuff that people have no idea about what happened.
what
in this
happened,
thing
right.
because they sanitized it, and they're trying to act like, oh no, it was a lot of name calling and threats and everything back and forth, and it was. I just went in and I blew the whole case up from the prosecution standpoint. Thoroughly frustrated the judge, but I went and I defended myself pro se. And they didn't know what to do with me.
Yeah.
But I knew after the third day that the trial was mine to lose.
Yeah. Well, and I think you had said that...
3 months, though.
You were saying, what am I going to... What do you want me to do? How am I supposed to do this thing? And I think our lady said something like, well, just stand there naked or something. Or how did
She said, stand naked in front of the jury and I'll defend you. I thought to myself, oh,
okay.
I said, well, hell, that ain't going to happen. I said, like hell, that's going to happen. But after thinking about it, praying on it a little bit, I realized what it was that she meant. Don't go in there and act like something you're not. You know, be who you are. You show the jury who you are and be who you are, and I'll take care of the rest. And that is actually what happened. I was telling you earlier, had I had an attorney,
You'd have lost.
we would have lost the case.
Yeah.
Or it would have been a major split verdict, and this devotion would be totally dead. No one would ever touch it
Yeah.
again.
Well, you brought the reality and the substance of what this was all about.
Well, you did too. You
Well,
were
to
one
an
of my-
extent, sure.
You
But,
were, you were my.
what's
You
what
were
we're doing
one of my
now.
only two witnesses.
What we're doing now is the same thing. Well, folks, what we're discussing is a world at war, and on every level, on a secular and on a spiritual level. And Larry, what he has been talking about in terms of bishops and this and that, he's not pissing and moaning because, it was a small deal. It's a big deal because it goes beyond just them ignoring him. If they ignore him, ignore our Blessed Mother, they will ignore their faithful, they will ignore the sheep, they'll ignore everything.
So much else is involved in this.
So,
Part of a pattern.
yeah, we're going to be talking about, this is called the Trump prophecies, what's coming next, and it's a Mark Taylor. I vetted this guy.
I want to know what's coming next.
I vetted this guy, and he's like Larry, very much like Larry. This guy's a firefighter, and he had some. We'll be talking about this tomorrow. Some of the other things as it relates, and it all relates to this. God has chosen certain people to do certain things for Him, and we're going to take a look at somebody that knew Trump was going to be through a calling and through a good Lord, that Trump was going to be a president back in 2011. And, of course, he wasn't a president in 2016. However, there's a lot of very interesting things, and I know Larry...
Well, Tom Zimmer was talking about back in 1982.
And Tom Zimmer was talking about, and this he was the one that was...
He was the Hermit of Loretto.
Hermit of Loretto. So we're looking at these things that line up. And I think somebody once said that Tom Hermit, he said, well, Trump is going to be the president. And again, you mean Trump the Playboy? So Trump the Playboy, has a greater spiritual integrity than, according to the nun, greater spiritual integrity than Francis.
The Bergoglio.
Right? I mean, this is crazy. Is this true, or is this some kind of a comedy?
Well, the one thing I think is good about Trump is he has changed.
Go ahead, brother. Talk about it.
He has changed. He's changed dramatically. And in the time that he's changed, the time period when his transition has been happening,
Yes.
has been his time with his wife, Melania.
And tell me about her.
Well, she's been a great influence. She's a Roman Catholic.
Okay.
And
Came from a communist country? Or?
Came from a communist. She came the Ukraine area, I think.
Right. I think Ukrainian. Yeah, Ukrainian.
But, she's been a huge influence, I think, on the Donald. He's not Catholic, and I'm not saying, like, I'm one of the first people to say, you don't need to be Catholic.
Yeah, be Catholic. Yeah, really. I mean, we're talking, first of all, Larry and I are talking about, some of the stuff with the current sitting Pope.
Right.
We're as Catholic and un-Catholic as you can be. It just depends on what comes across our desk.
No, I'm not trying to tell anyone that you got to be Catholic, and Catholic is the only way. I'm no Feeney. Are you familiar with Feeneyism?
A little bit.
Okay, this is a guy back in the 70s when everything was...
You're going to go to hell unless you're Catholic.
Right.
Okay.
When he started his own little cult.
We're done then.
Well, no, but he thought that all Protestants were going to hell.
Yeah, it's so
and
funny, dear God.
He was very, very acerbic in his delivery on these things. But, I don't know who goes to hell, who doesn't go to hell. That's not my pay grade.
However, we're going to be spending a little bit of time.
well, but I do think about my life on Earth right now is just one long interview process for my next job.
That's interesting.
Is that I'll be rated when I leave here as if I do get to heaven, this says, well, here's heaven, okay.
Here's your resume,
What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of...
Well, I'd really like to be able to go back to Earth every now and then and mess with some people down there, and try to...
Play a little baseball with them and a bat.
Maybe play a little mind game with them and try to show them that, that their humanness has taken over. They need to realize who's really in charge here.
Well, it could be, sure.
Be an inspirational
right.
sort of
that happens.
A factor to try to bring out more good, to save more souls. I think that would be a fun
that would be good. That would be a lot of fun, sure.
Of course it would.
Pack a sandwich or something. So
I don't know if you need a sandwich, but, travel light, but keep a light heart. but keep, your willingness to keep serving and come down and say, hey, look, kid, nice try, but you got it all wrong, and
Right.
show them
Right.
how it is, being a good coach, a good steward. I think that would be a cool thing. Now, I'm just riffing here as to what.
Yeah, no, we don't know, but we know it's very if this life has certain dynamics and some boredom, some frightening, whatever, the life in heaven can't be just sitting there, going,
No. Heaven.
right? There's got to be something.
Well, from what I was able to see and feel was just heaven's light.
Yeah.
I think Our Lady knew that if she showed me everything in heaven,
What's it like?
she'd have never gotten me back.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I was ready to stay when I just felt the light.
You serious?
Yeah, I was ready to stay.
You weren't worried about what's going to happen to my Winnebago or?
Nothing. No, I was ready. I was like,
Oh, this is good. Bye.
yeah.
Not even bye. Good luck.
Well, it was like,
Yeah, I'm going. Right.
yeah.
Is that right, Larry?
Yeah, it was that.
And you only saw the light of it. You didn't see.
I just saw the light and I could feel, but I didn't see anybody or
Sweet
anything.
Jesus. Oh, my God.
And I don't know if heaven will be a place where you see things, but you're going to feel everything.
Right.
I will know when our souls connect or whatever in heaven. Oh, there's my friend Alex.
Well, there's got to be something magnificent. Right,
in this
right,
closeness.
Right.
You will have this feeling.
Communication
but,
of love, right?
But everything is in agreement.
Right.
Heaven is in
Just
total agreement.
Saturated with God. I
Well,
suppose.
everyone's there for the same reason,
Right.
and they all feel the same, and they're all so happy, and there's nothing there that you could want
Right.
because it's already there, because your happiness is complete. knowing
But there's
that you're
still
there
there's a
with Jesus.
dynamic though, don't you think? There's still work to do. There's something that
There's always work to do.
Okay.
That's why, that's why I say we got to build things. We got to do things every day. Get in the habit, work. Get out, do things, build something. Even if it's just making cookies or something, do something constructive every day.
For that day and that hour, yeah.
Right. Just, don't be idle. Don't, take time off. Let yourself rest. I'm not saying, to, overwork yourself. But you know what? Do work. Leave the world better each day than how you found it when you woke up that morning.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit.
Right. And I think for any audience that we have and stuff, this is our challenge, is to, take each day. I know Larry's here at his home and doing a lot of work. He gets up, he works, he does some podcasts and things like that. But more often than not, he's alone. And but still, it begs the question, not only for Larry or for me, but the rest of us, what's going to be on our resume? Who are we? Why are we here? And how can we be of some purpose in God's plans? So we're going to be dealing with in the future some of the things on Trump's prophecy, and those are very interesting stuff. And then Larry will be critiquing it and asking questions and stuff. We're going to be talking a little bit about Mary Baxter. We'll read a few couple excerpts and discuss it as her 30-day tour of hell. And some of the dynamics. It's very interesting in the dynamics and the social, psychological, and spiritual dynamics of people. And we'll be critiquing, again, some of the things from Vincent Maselli's The Antichrist and take a look at, because I believe that we're at the apex, especially if Pope Benedict's will and testament is to be believed. We're at the apex of a clash and then an ushering in of peace. So it's not, every generation thinks that they're the ones that are on it, but in terms of data and material and stuff, and I've asked Larry, what do you think? He goes, well, from his chair, we're right at that point, that pinnacle.
I
So,
can't see it as being anything really other than that, just because so many things seem all to be coming together at the same confluence here.
Right.
It's just all
converging
right.
quickly.
Yeah, it's happening faster and faster with the advent of our technology and things like that. Here, it's just moving at breakneck speed, and I think that the collapse of the church is actually, and I'm not saying the destruction of the church, but I think the collapsing and the condensing of the church is all because of this.
Do you?
And the technology and how the messages are going to go and how the communications will move in an instant.
And so, will people be able to regroup in responding to God in the continuation of his faith in his church?
I think it'll destroy a lot of people in that instant
Right.
who won't ever know God or I think a lot of people think they know God right now, but they just know that God is a three-letter word. They
Okay, all
they
right.
don't really know if they believe
Right.
that God exists, and this is why God has to keep showing confirmations that I am here, I do exist, and after a while he's going to say, hey, quit asking.
Right. Yeah, how much more have I got to do?
What more do I need to do
Right.
for you to believe?
Yeah, it's interesting.
But he'll keep going because God is forever.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are not.
It was interesting that you say that because there was one point as I was reading, I believe in the mystical city, and even in Veltorto, our Lord says, what else can I give you? I've given you myself in the Holy Eucharist. What else is there left to give you? And it's true. I mean, you think about it. If true presence in the Holy Eucharist, what else can he give? He gives us himself. And I can barely even appreciate that or even fathom that. Even when I go to Holy Communion, it's like I'm still kind of like a dunce, You should be shouldn't I be in awe or something? So I'm begging him just to kind of wake up a little bit. But
Yeah, but this is the casualness that we've arrived at here, and it all started with taking away the kneelers.
yeah, no, you're right. You're
the
right.
Communion in the hand, and it's we're one step away to just having it mailed to us.
Right.
And who knows what'll happen if there's no more priests to deliver the Mass and stuff like that. But there was a time when Mass was a very infrequent thing.
Not too long ago,
these
right?
parts.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
150 years ago.
That's amazing, yeah.
It was.
And people would stop what they're doing to go to the Mass, and it might be miles and miles.
Yeah,
away.
I mean, we're right here. I'm at about 47 miles away from the old fort in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And whenever the people out here working their land and all like that, when there'd be word that there was a Jesuit missionary that arrived at the fort, everyone would drop what they were doing in the fields, unhook their plows, hop on their horses,
and go
and head into town.
Real
And
nice.
make the ride in. Hopefully they got there. They could overnight. Their goal was to be able to attend a Mass
Right.
and receive Holy Communion because they didn't know if they would ever see it again, being out here. I mean, that's how scarce it was.
That's amazing. And not very long ago, a generation, maybe and a half, but that's amazing.
And now you got 3 opportunities on a Sunday, and you got every day throughout the week, and
Right.
there's only the same, handful of, old people in there each day for the morning Mass and
That's
stuff
it,
like
right?
that.
Yeah,
And
right. And the kids are
we call them the Walker Brigade. They all come in with walkers, and the guy with the cane is helping the guy with the walker.
yeah,
Somebody's got to hold the door.
right. He's a
But-
couple years younger, so it's
Well, he's just not as far advanced along, but it's just there's a real turn that's going on right now, and we have to make sure we're mindful of making sure we pay attention to that which is important. And I think so often our worldliness takes us off that cue, and I think that's why Our Lady's so concerned about the state of her priests and her bishops and the worldliness. She wants them to be on point for what it is because, like I said, I don't know if Jesus would recognize the church of today versus what he started.
Oh no, he doesn't. This is
And Mary has to be concerned.
He said in Veltorta's work, "You're demolishing my church." I mean, you can't get much more clearer than what's been going on, and that's it's what it is. You can. I went to in Rensselaer, St. Joseph, and I said, "Oh, geez, I want to see this church and the priest up there," because I was doing some investigation on the mystical city and their role in it up at St. Joseph under Father Cipher, and he said, "Don't be disappointed." I said, "What do you mean, Father? They gutted the church." I said, "What?" He said all that beautiful ornate, and they got carpeting. They got carpeting up
Have a Rensselaer?
in Rensselaer, St. Joe. It was a magnificent
Father
church.
Abel said that used to be like, one of the gorgeous.
Yeah, no, carpeting. What insane asylum priest did this?
Probably a 70s move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, he wouldn't recognize it, Larry, and it's not because we think he wouldn't. He just wouldn't. Right. We can barely recognize it sometimes. We walk into these places. How many times have you met with a priest and you're going, "Oh, Lord, not again"?
But they're tearing stuff out.
Well, you're talking to them and they don't even want to hear it. It's like, can I get a widescreen TV? Well, you already got one, Father. Yeah, but it's not big enough, and I want to see it from the.
I get those. Yeah, find me a car and all like this. It's like what I'm not Santa Claus, and I can't just make stuff happen for you. And you know what? You're making $60,000 to $80,000 a year yourself. Dig down and pay for your.
Boy, that flabbergasted me that they're getting that kind of. I never made that money when I worked. Never made that kind of money.
No, you weren't a priest. The average, they say that in 2016, Bureau of Labor Statistics said the average Catholic priest makes $60,000 to $85,000 a year.
Wow.
And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of guys say, "Oh, I never made that," but there are a lot of guys probably out there that are killing it.
Right.
But. Hey, it's not my money. Well, it kind of is. And many times, I guess it is. So maybe we should talk about that. But anyway, we'll get into more things here. But Alex, I appreciate you.
Good to be here.
And you folks, I love you, and we'll be back.